What is going on, you bunch of heathens? We are back with another Fat Electrician video. It has been a hot minute since we watched one of his videos. Actually, I don't even remember the last time we actually watched him. But this one is called Marine Captures Over 1,000 POWs, the Pied Piper of Saipan. Guy Gabaldon. It's a hell of a fucking name. Sounds like a fucking dope ass story, so of course we're gonna check it out. It's an hour long, and you know I like to yap, so make sure you get whatever drinks or snacks you need. Check out the original video down below. Make sure you give him his love. And let's jump in.
A couple of weeks ago, we talked about Alvin York, one of America's most well-known and renowned
that was a good
heroes.
one.
He earned the Medal of Honor in World War I when he captured 132
brick
German
shit
POWs.
house, dude.
Well,
Like,
in World War II, a
dope
Marine
motherfucker.
set out to break his record. And he didn't just break it, he broke it by nearly a factor of 10, yet almost nobody knows his name. That's about to change.
Yeah, I've never fucking heard of him.
Today we're talking about Guy Gabaldon, aka the Pied Piper of Saipan, credited with 33
I know I'm pausing already. Can I just say, like, when was this? 6 days ago. Okay. This was a hell of a fucking name, by the way.
POWs. In medieval folklore, the Pied Piper is a man that comes to town with a magic flute. The town is infested with rats, and he says, if you pay me, I'll get rid of all the rats. The townspeople agreed. He then uses his magical flute to entrance all of the rats and guide them out of town. Upon returning back to the town for his payment, they refuse to pay him, so he then uses his magical flute to lure away 130 children, and they're never seen again. As far as I can tell, it's some kind of cautionary tale, essentially saying, pay your bills or somebody's gonna kidnap your kids, but whatever, it's not important because we're talking about the Pied Piper of Saipan, which is much different. Guy is not a mythical man with a magical flute. He is a 5'3" Marine of Hispanic descent that grew up with a Japanese family in East LA. He understands the Japanese.
Oh, so Hispanic heritage, grew up with a Japanese family. Dude knew what the fuck was going
culture.
down.
He understands their mindset, and most importantly, he can speak their language. With this deeper understanding of the Japanese than the average American, he goes behind enemy lines by himself and convinces them to surrender, saving both them and the Marines that they would inevitably kill in combat. It is one of the greatest and most dangerous humanitarian efforts ever undertaken by a single man, and we're going to get into all of it right after word from our sponsor.
Hi, welcome to Antique Roadshow. I am the historian appraiser. What do you have for me today?
Well, my grandfather fought in World War II, and he just recently passed. And I found something odd in the sock drawer.
Hey, you found little boy in his sock drawer?
I don't know what I found.
I only vaguely know about this show because it's not something I would watch. That's totally something someone would bring in.
So can you tell me what it's worth?
$5 million, that's it?
They got a price check on the entire city of Tokyo.
All right, here's the deal. Super simple, straightforward business model. You give them money, they turn around and make sure that data brokers on the internet aren't selling your personal
fucking
information.
Delete me.
What does that even mean? Okay.
I don't know very many other, I don't know other fucking, companies. I don't know very many companies that would allow a fucking joke about nuking Japan
and every free service on
go
the planet
into
inside of a nutshell. Okay,
ad.
there's a saying: if you're not paying for the product, you are the product. What that means is pretty much anything on the internet that you use, that's a service. Whether that be Google, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, all of it. Okay, it's all an app. So one of two things is happening: they're either going to feed you ads, and that's how that company makes money since their service is free, or they're going to collect your personal information, then turn around and sell it to data brokers on the internet, and then they're going to turn around and sell it to whoever buys it, and next thing you know, you're getting 17,000 robocalls every single day. And that's where Delete Me comes in. They will look through all the major data brokers and find the ones that are selling your personal information and submit opt-out requests on your behalf, and then they are legally obligated to comply. And then they'll continue to monitor these data brokers, and if they get your information again, Delete Me will submit an opt-out request again. Basically, you're paying Delete Me to get rid of all the downsides of all of the free stuff on the internet, which I think is absolutely worth it. If you want to check them out, I'll have a link in a discount code.
Dude must fucking this must just be a pre-recorded ad because that's like the same thing he always uses. He must just only
All right, our
redo
story
the
begins on
skit
March
in the
22nd,
beginning.
1926. Guy Gabaldon is born. He is one of 7 kids, and he grew up during the Great Depression. Great Depression starts in
Pretty
1929,
standard shit.
goes till 1939. Pretty much his entire childhood takes place during the Great Depression in East LA. Like pretty much every other World War II hero we talk about, he grew up dirt poor, made him tough as nails. We're not going to waste a bunch of time on it. What's unique about Guy is that he actually grew up going out and shining shoes at the age of like 7 through 10 on Skid Row. And just so we're all on the same page, Skid Row in the 1930s, much different than Skid Row now, okay?
Yeah,
it wasn't full of a bunch of people that were suffering from drug problems and like rampant drug abuse. It was a bunch of people that had just genuinely lost everything in the Great Depression. These people living in tents were like former investment bankers, former businessmen that just truly lost everything, and now they were homeless.
Oh, that's
so it's still a wild place
depressing
for a 10-year-old to be hanging out, but it wasn't like excessively
is.
dangerous like it is today. And over time, he kind of became like the mascot of Skid Row. Like all the homeless people knew who he was. They were all friendly to him. The cops knew who he was.
Oh,
the
that's
cops
sweet.
Looking out for him. The local businesses all knew him. He was going door to door on local businesses, shining shoes. Half the
Oh, that's actually really fucking sweet. That the homeless knew him, kept an eye on him. Police knew him, kept an eye on him.
time he was
That's
literally
nice.
sleeping
I
in a
like
bar
that.
near Skid Row because they knew him, and he would shine shoes all night long. As time went on, he got involved with a gang called the Mo Gang. He started getting more and more into a life of crime, and his family stepped in and they sent him to live in New Mexico with his grandfather to help straighten him out.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
That's too damn bad!
And his grandfather's like nothing
I
he'd ever
love
seen
that.
before. He grew up in LA hanging out on Skid Row. His grandfather was born in the mid-1800s and had done real cowboy shit, lived in New Mexico his entire life,
real
carried a
cowboy
revolver on his
shit.
hip and kept a loaded shotgun by the front door. And Grandpa is kind of offended that his grandson doesn't speak Spanish and has no idea about the heritage that he comes from. So Grandpa teaches him both how to speak Spanish and tells him all about his heritage. He's a descendant of the conquistadors. And as time goes on, that's exactly what happened. Guy starts taking a ton of
That's actually really cool. It's like, hey, why the fuck don't you know anything? It teaches him. That's really cool. I want to know, how does he end up ending up with a Japanese family?
Right, his heritage, and he doesn't want to go hang out on Skid Row and be involved in crime anymore. He wants to be an upstanding citizen and accomplish great things. He ends up coming back home to East LA when he's about 12 years old, and he decides that's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to put his best foot forward. He's going to school. He's trying. He's putting in an effort, and that's when he kind of takes notice to other people around him. And there's this Japanese family, and the Japanese people that he's met just seem to excel at absolutely everything. The kids do great in school. The parents were first-generation immigrants that came to America with nothing, and now they're all business owners and upstanding members of the community.
So he's
and
like,
Guy
how do you do
that's
it?
who he's going to start associating with more. He ends up becoming really close friends with the Nakano family, and ultimately ends up moving in with them for a number of years, not because he has like issues with his mother and his siblings, but it's the Great Depression. They've got 7 kids. It's a lot of mouths to feed. There's not a lot of money going around, and this wealthy Japanese family was willing to take him in, feed him, give him everything he needed to succeed and excel at school, and that's just what ended up happening. During his time with the Nakano,
that's cool. That's so cool of them. Like, nothing bad. It's just, hey, we have the money. Do you want to? That's so fucking cool.
Guy wanted to know absolutely everything about the Japanese culture. He was obsessed with samurai and the Bushido Code of Honor. He learned about Japanese history. He ended up learning how to speak Japanese, not in the formal, I'm going to sit down in a classroom setting. This word means that word, and that word means
standard shit, like learning through osmosis of, hey, I'm around it enough, I'm going to start picking that shit up.
He was just immersed in Japanese speaking, so he could speak it fluently like a normal Japanese person. And
without all the weird formalness of it. Like you always learn in
goes on for years. It's great. It's a time of Guy's life. And then when he's 15 years old, Pearl Harbor happens. Shortly after that, FDR issues Executive Order 9066, essentially stripping all Japanese Americans of all of their rights. And then his family, the Nakano family, is forced to leave behind their businesses, their homes, everything they have, and go into a concentration camp. And Guy absolutely hates this. It ruins his entire life. He's resentful of all the Americans around him that are too stupid to understand that the Nakano family and all the other great Japanese Americans aren't Japanese. They're American, just like everybody else.
Good. I'm glad he's fucking pissed about, because I know it's part of the fucking education system, and I remember learning about it in school, but it was very short. I'm glad that Nick's around to fucking talk about it, because holy shit, people don't actually know that this happened. And it pisses me off because it is a horrible fucking thing.
He absolutely hates the Imperial Japanese for attacking America and creating this entire situation. On top of that, his older brother was in the United States Navy and he was at Pearl Harbor during the attack. Thankfully, he survived, but the Japanese tried to kill his brother too, just adding further insult and anger to that injury. But he's 15. There's absolutely nothing he can do about it. He's not going to be allowed to join the military for another 2 years, so he just bides his time. He ends up getting into a little bit of trouble. He gets a motorcycle, which is like the only joy he has is riding his motorcycle around town, and he just waits for 2 years to pass so he can go off to war and take his aggression out on the Japanese. And during this 2 years, Guy's paying attention to the news. In the first couple of years for the Pacific War, America going to war against the Japanese, it was not going good for America. Really, the only silver lining that America had was its submarine fleet. The submarines were going out and taking the fight to the Japanese, and they were winning with incredible stories like Dudley Mush-Morton and the USS Wahoo. Seeing this, it became...
Done some really good videos on that too if you want to check them out.
What Guy wanted to do. He wanted to go serve in the Navy on a submarine and take the fight to the Japanese to get his revenge.
But he doesn't end up doing that.
So on his 17th birthday, he goes straight to the Navy recruiter. First off, he's too short. You got to be 5'4". He's 5'3 3/4. He's like, I'm trying to serve on a submarine. Okay, but how tall I am shouldn't matter. Honestly, the smaller the better. I'm saving room for other people. And they're like, fucking hop up on your tippy toes, Guy. Okay, so he gets up. Okay, you're 5'4". Great, wonderful.
Stick some shit in the back, underneath in your fucking shoe.
He goes through the medical exam. Oh my God, you have a perforated eardrum. You're not going to be allowed to serve in the U.S. Navy. And the doctor thinks he's doing Guy a solid. He thinks he's giving Guy good news, and he's like, "Relax, son. You're not going to have to go off to war. We can't take you with this perforated eardrum."
No, fuck you. That's not what he wants.
To go to war.
Yeah, he wants to go.
Pissed off. So he starts arguing with the doctor and the recruiter, and they're like, "Look, son, we've already overlooked your height. We can't overlook this perforated eardrum because when the guns go off, it could be a big problem." And he's like, "I'm trying to serve on a submarine. What guns are going off inside of a submarine? Okay, if I hear a loud noise, I'm probably seconds away from dying anyways, and it's not gonna matter. Just let me go be on the..."
Yeah, if there's a loud noise, it's not gonna be my problem in a couple seconds.
So I can fight the Japanese. And they're like, "Sorry, can't do it. Fuck off."
I'm a peacock, Captain. You gotta let me fly on this one.
But Guy, he's not taking no for an answer. So he walks right out the Navy recruiter, walks right next door to the Marine recruiter, goes in and is like, "Put me in, coach. Literally whatever you got. All I know is that the Navy and the Marines are the main guys fighting the Japanese right now, and I want to fight the Japanese. I'll do anything." Recruiter takes one look at him and is like, "You're not tall enough. Kick rocks." At which point, Guy has an idea. He remembers he read a couple of weeks ago that the Navy and the Marines and the military as a whole is having a humongous trouble finding Japanese interpreters because they've taken all the people that can speak Japanese and stuck them in concentration camps.
Yep, that's a big fucking issue. But hey, guess who knows fluent Japanese, motherfucker? That's right. I also know their culture.
He estimated that there was less than 100 Americans not of Japanese descent that could fluently speak Japanese at this point in time, and he's one of them. So he tells the recruiter, "Wait, I can speak Japanese."
Yeah, hey, motherfuckers, if only there was an excess of Americans who could, that that could speak it. Too bad you fucking put them in camps like dipshits.
It means Japanese sword.
At this point, the recruiter's ears kind of perk up like, "Yep, okay, not many people know how to speak Japanese. If I can recruit this kid and get him into linguist school to be an interpreter, it'd make me look real good. I can fudge that paperwork." So he's like, "Okay, here's the deal. I'm willing to fudge this paperwork. Say you're a 1/4 inch taller so you can become a Marine, but I'm going to send you over to this building where there's a Marine linguist. You got to prove to him that you can actually speak Japanese. And if he says you can, I'll get you in." At this point, Guy's like, "Sweet, no problem." Goes over to the Marine linguist.
Issue for me.
Marine linguist is like, "Yep, dude speaks Japanese." Goes back to the recruiter, gets the paperwork signed. He's getting shipped off to basic. Then he's going to linguist school, and he's going to be an interpreter.
Sure, that sounds fun.
So Guy ships off to basic at 5'3", 126 pounds, and he's Hispanic. And at this point in time, the United States Marine Corps was 100% white by regulation and policy until 1941. So he's literally one of the first not white Marines ever, and he's a really small guy. So he gets made fun of, and he gets a lot of shit. Some of it's for his size, a lot of it's for his race. It's really not that great of a time. He barely makes it through basic training, but he does. He graduates, he officially becomes becomes a United States Marine. After graduating
Fuck
boot camp,
yeah.
he is given 30 days of leave before he has to report to linguist school, so he goes back home in his fancy new Marine dress uniform, and boy oh boy, is he a celebrity amongst the ladies. In his own words, and I quote, "The gals were very patriotic and were willing to show their love of their country by giving all for their servicemen, and I believed it was my solemn duty to help these girls show their patriotism."
Nah, bro. Dude took advantage of that uniform. Oh, that's fucking hilarious. Same story every fucking time.
Homie's definitely a Marine.
That is a Marine fucking thing to do. Yeah.
So 30 days of leave comes and goes.
Yes. Yeah. Fuck me all.
So 30 days of leave comes and goes. He reports to linguist school. He's there for about a month, and then he earns a weekend pass, and he is explicitly ordered not to return home. He can just go out in like the surrounding area and not get in a bunch of trouble. So naturally, Guy goes back home because he wants to help ladies, you know, show their patriotism some more.
Damn right.
And that's it.
While back home in East LA, he's
Sex.
hanging out with a bunch of hot Russian chicks. They're slamming vodka. He ends up getting into an altercation with a large Russian man who punches him and ends up breaking his jaw in 2 places. Ends up getting his jaw wired shut like he's 50 Cent, shows back up to linguist school with his jaw wired shut. And as I'm sure you can imagine, in linguist school, having your jaw wired shut is kind of a big deal, and he violated orders. So he gets kicked out of linguist school, sent back home until he's fully recovered, and then he's supposed to report back, and the Marine Corps is going to give him a new MOS. Doctor says it's going to take about 2 months to recover from this broken jaw, and the Marine doctor then looks him dead in the eyes and is like, "Marine, do not go home and get drunk. Do not drink a bunch of alcohol. If you puke with your jaw wired shut, you will drown on your own puke.
Let me guess. He goes home and drinks a lot.
Do not drink alcohol." So he goes,
God,
spends
that
the next 2
fucking
months
face he
having fun,
makes.
drinking booze when he's not supposed to, reports back for duty. He's now at the whim of the United States Marine Corps. Just whatever they need, that's what they're going to assign him. It's World War II. He obviously gets stationed as infantry. So he goes off to
not a
infantry
surprise
school,
there.
you learn the basics, and then after you've learned the basics, you get assigned to like a special type of weapon. You could be a rifleman, you could be a machine gunner, you could be a mortarman. And he gets put as a mortarman. And of course, he's the new guy, and he's here because he got in trouble, so he's gonna be the guy carrying the base plate, which is this gigantic 35, 45-pound hunk of metal that he has to carry into battle
New guy gets the shit job.
with him to set the mortar on top.
Why is it always the short dudes who get fucking set with the fucking biggest, with the heaviest shit? I have heard stories upon stories of people in the military, like the shortest fuckers will get put with the fucking machine gun. Like almost every time.
Which is, in my opinion, the shittiest job. Like, I was a medic, so I had to carry a gun, ammo, all my own personal stuff, and the big heavy aid bag. The only dude I ever looked at in the military out of any other job and been like, at least I'm not that guy, was the private carrying the mortar plate for the mortar crew, because that
looks
shit
like
looked
dog
like
shit.
it absolutely sucked. And bear in mind, Guy is 5'3", 126 pounds. But you know what? He does it. He doesn't complain.
Yeah, dude was almost 5'4". You just compressed him to a fucking 5'3" flat.
He's a Marine. He's going to get the job done. He wants to go off and fight the Japanese. So he graduates, becomes a mortar, goes off, joins his official Marine unit. They're gearing up to deploy, obviously. And while they're getting ready to deploy, they're going through a bunch of training, and they're taking volunteers if anybody in the infantry wants to try out and be part of a scout platoon. Typically, this is like a voluntary only type of thing. These were going to be the best infantry guys that were volunteering to go behind enemy lines in small groups and spy on the enemy, gather intel, do important stuff, which to a 5'3", 126-pound guy, being sneaky and not getting caught sounds a lot easier than carrying this gigantic.
Yeah, also, really fucking good that he can speak Japanese. That's another big thing that'd be helpful for him.
Fucking base plate. So he volunteers, he makes the cut, he becomes a scout.
Hell yeah.
From here, they ship off into the Pacific, no idea where they're going, just straight up, get your ass on the boat, we'll tell you what you need to know when you need to know it. They wind up making a stop in Hawaii for a little bit, and then they ship off again, no idea where they're going. After like a month on this ship, they come over the radio and tell them that they are going to be participating in the amphibious landing of Saipan. They are then briefed on the entire situation regarding Saipan. It is mid-1944, the war in the Pacific has switched. The Americans are now winning and beating back the Japanese.
Hell yeah.
The Japanese have adopted a strategy that they are going to defend Japan itself and a ring of islands around Japan that give Japan enough space so that America won't be able to launch bombing raids on the main island. Ideally, if they can hold these islands and prevent America from launching major bombing raids on mainland Japan, they're going to be able to rebuild their military,
so you're in the Marshall
rebuild their
Islands.
Navy, and get back into the fight and turn the tide in
I had
their
to look
favor.
up where it
And for
was.
this Japanese defensive plan to work, they absolutely have to hold Saipan because it is one of the only islands big enough for America to land their super fortress, the B-29 bomber, on top of. If America manages to take Saipan, they're going to be able to use it to launch large-scale bombing raids on mainland Japan. This is going to demoralize the Japanese people, as well as allow America to cripple their industrial capability, making it so they can't rebuild their
so it's going to be
force. If you're not picking up what I'm
bad.
putting down, I'm trying to tell you that the taking of Saipan would be the beginning of the end for the Japanese Empire. They know that. America knows that. America's got to have it. Japan can't afford to lose it. This is all-out total war at this point. To make things worse and even more horrific, Japanese propaganda has persuaded the vast majority of Japanese civilians that America is the aggressor in this war. They believe that America started this war for no reason and that they are quite literally cannibalistic barbarians that are coming to eat them, and it would be better to die fighting them than to surrender to them.
Hey, you! Wait a second. Look, I'm not gonna eat you. I just...
God, the fact that he follows
America's
the fucking
attack on
lines is
Saipan
hilarious.
begins on June 11th, 1944, when they open up with a massive naval bombardment that goes all day and all night for 3 days straight. June 14th, the Marine Corps hits the beach, landing 8,000 men in under 20 minutes, and they are in an intense firefight trying to establish a beachhead.
Damn, 8,000? God, that's a lot of men.
For hours. And Guy is one of these 8,000 Marines. As he advances up the beach, he starts to see the dead bodies of Imperial Japanese soldiers, and it almost stops him in his tracks. It starts to mess with him. They look just like the Nisei. They look like his friends back home. And in that moment, he realizes he shouldn't be here. He should be back home drinking with those Russian chicks. He's got himself way in over his head. He doesn't know if he can kill people that look just like his friends. And he starts to ask himself why. Why are they still fighting? They're...
Damn. That's fucking heavy. Finally getting there and be like, oh shit, they're just like my fucking friends. They're like my fucking family.
Losing. They have to know they're losing this war, and they're going to continue to lose until it's over. All of this death is completely unnecessary. Why won't they just quit? And then as guys
because they don't know any better. They're being told, hey, this is what fucking happened.
Existential crisis and panic attack advancing up the beach, he sees his first dead Marine. And this stops him in his tracks, quite literally standing straight up on the beach with machine gun fire flying in both directions, and he's just standing there locked in, staring at this Marine's corpse. His buddy Hurley's in a foxhole nearby, yelling at Guy, what are you doing? Get down. But it's all just background noise as he's locked in on this Marine's corpse, and he realizes that as much as he wants to save everybody, not everybody's gonna let themselves be saved, and he has to make a decision. If the Japanese aren't gonna quit, he needs to kill them first before they kill him or his other Marines. And with that, Hurley gets out of his foxhole and drags Guy into the foxhole with him and tells him to get his fucking head in the game. From here, Guy, Hurley, and the rest of the Marines fight for 8 hours straight to establish...
That's a hell of a fucking realization to have. Because we've had where it's like, oh yeah, no, the guys didn't really think of anything when they were... like they were straight into it and all that, but no, that's very fucking humanizing where it's like, oh shit, not everyone is gonna let them. Oh, that's sad.
Establish a 1 mile beachhead before the sun sets. By the next morning, any reservations Guy had about killing people that look like his friends are completely gone. He still wants to afford the enemy the opportunity to surrender, but if they don't take it, whatever happens next isn't his fault, it's on them. At this point, the fighting has died down completely, and Guy's commanding officer, Captain Schwab, says, just keep manning the foxholes, keep looking that direction. We're gonna be setting up observation posts. We're gonna be sending out scouts to try to gather intel so we can start invading further into this island. So Guy kind of sits there for a little little bit, and after a while he starts to get bored and he starts thinking to himself like, hey, I mean, I'm just one Marine. If I slipped away for a little bit, nobody would miss me. And for whatever reason, he decides he's going to slip out of the front line and into no man's land and into enemy territory. And with that, Guy is now advancing into enemy.
Damn, but bro, what is going through your head in that situation? Like, why?
Territory by himself, and nobody knows that he's gone, which is an incredibly stupid decision, but he's an 18-year-old kid.
That is incredibly stupid.
18-year-old kids do. As he's making his way into the jungle, he comes across a Japanese trench. Inside of it is what appears to be 3 dead Japanese soldiers that have been hit by some kind of indirect fire. So he slips past that trench and he figures, okay, there's obviously going to be more trenches along the same line of area. Like, this is a defensive line. So he advances a little bit further and then loops back around and heads back towards the Marine line. Sure enough, he comes up behind a Japanese trench with 3 very alive Japanese soldiers manning the trench, pointing towards the Marine line.
Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit.
Come up from behind them. Guy doing exactly what he told himself he was going to do, affording the enemy the chance to surrender. He sneaks right up to their trench before yelling in Japanese, "Turn around with your hands up." And sure enough, one of the Japanese soldiers wings around with his gun leveled at him, and Guy drops him immediately. The other 2 immediately drop their weapons and raise their hands. Guy then communicates to him in Japanese, "I'm not going to hurt you. If you surrender, let me walk you back to our line. I'm not going to have to kill you." And they agree, and that's exactly what Guy does. As he's walking back with the Japanese soldiers in front of him, he has them take their white undershirts off and wave them over their head as a flag of surrender as he's walking behind them with his gun leveled at him. As he's walking, he realizes he just killed a guy, and he didn't feel anything. He didn't feel pride in killing the enemy. He didn't feel remorse. He didn't feel bad. He wasn't making a decision. The other guy made the decision. He afforded him the opportunity to surrender, and he didn't take it. Guy was not the decision maker in this scenario. He was simply the consequences of making the wrong decision, and because of that, he felt nothing. As they approach the Marine line, they obviously get spotted.
That's fucking deep. Holy damn. This is a fucking deep one. Oh. I feel like I'm not really speaking a whole lot, but
are yelling, "Holy shit, look what Guy brought in." They know it's Guy because he's the only Marine that's 5'3", bringing in 2 prisoners alive, which at this point in the war was absolutely unprecedented. The Japanese never surrendered. How in the hell did 5'3", 120-pound Guy sneak behind enemy lines and convince 2 Japanese Imperial soldiers to surrender?
Well, big balls,
Guy
and he speaks the language.
In, hands him off to the chain of command. He's on cloud 9. He thinks he's the shit. He just did something awesome that almost nobody else had ever done.
And then he gets
Captain
smoked.
Schwab comes up and starts chewing his fucking ass, essentially saying, "Yeah, I'm glad it worked out. Also, that was stupid as fuck. Don't ever do that again. And if you do, I'm gonna have you court-martialed and send your ass to prison. Do not do that." Guy's kind of all in his feels about it. He still feels like he did something incredible. He should be getting rewarded, and instead he's getting his ass chewed. But again, this is how an 18-year-old kid thinks. So he's just kind of like, whatever, fine, I'll stay.
That's actually a very important thing to remember, is that he is incredibly young at this point, like incredibly young. So yeah,
they put like you told me to. So for the next 2 days, Guy stays put. Both nights, the Japanese launch massive bonsai charges towards the Marine line, ultimately failing each time, resulting in hundreds, if not thousands, of dead Japanese soldiers. And the entire thing just drives Guy absolutely nuts. Why? Why are you just running straight into our machine gun fire, desperately trying to take one of us with you? It's so much unnecessary death. He just wants him to give up. So Guy decides, fuck it, I'm gonna go out on my own again. He waits till dark, and then he sneaks off, and he's crawling through enemy territory, and he comes across a dead Marine. And this Marine had the M1 carbine. Guy has been carrying the M1 Grand, big, huge, heavy rifle. It's like 10 pounds. He wants this lighter, smaller carbine. He's a small guy, so he decides to swap it out. Now he's got an M1 carbine with a bunch of magazines in his pockets. From here, he keeps crawling through enemy territory. It's dark, he can't really see shit, and then he smells Japanese food. So he follows the smell of the Japanese food, and he follows it, and he follows it, and then he starts to hear muffled Japanese voices, and he follows those, and he follows those until he comes to the mouth of this big military dugout. At this point, it's still dark. He realizes he can't engage right now. If he does manage to take some prisoners, he's not going to be able to keep track of them in the dark, so he decides he's going to sit there, post it up, and wait until the sun comes up. From here, he finds a good hiding spot near the dugout hole where he can still...
Motherfucker has the biggest fucking balls. Holy shit. Like, this is a big spot, and he's like, nah, I got this. Holy
listen and
shit.
hear what they're talking about. And as he's listening to them that night, he hears them talking about how these stupid American devils don't understand that there's a mighty Japanese flotilla coming that's going to reinforce the Japanese and completely wipe the Marines off the map.
Oh,
and Guy
shit.
realizes that these Japanese soldiers aren't getting any communications. They have no idea that the Japanese Navy flotilla that they're talking about has been completely destroyed by U.S. Navy Task Force 58 in what's known as the Marianas Turkey Shoot, where we sank 3 of their aircraft carriers, a ton of their escorts, and downed hundreds of Japanese planes. That chunk of reinforcements that they're relying on doesn't even exist anymore, and they have no idea. At this point, Guy realizes, okay, well, they're not going to willingly surrender because they don't understand to the degree of which they're losing. In fact, they think they're winning. So he's going to have to be a little bit more persuasive when the sun comes up. So
you beat me to it. You beat me to it. I was going to say persuasive.
He grabs himself a frag grenade, pulls the pin, lets the spoon go, counts to 3, throws it in the dugout, immediately grabs another frag grenade, pulls the pin, lets the spoon go, counts to 3, throws it in the dugout, grabs a smoke grenade, pulls the pin, lets go of the spoon, throws it in the dugout, posts up on his rock aimed at the dugout entrance, and starts yelling to the Japanese, come out with your hands up. And then somebody comes walking through the smoke with their hands up. Okay, good. This is great. And then another
we
guy.
got one.
Okay, even better.
2,
and
great.
Then another guy. Okay, that's pretty good. And then another. And another, and another, and pretty soon, he's got 12 fucking Imperial Japanese soldiers standing there with his hands up, way more than he anticipated. He's got a gun with 15 bullets, 12 prisoners that probably want to kill him if they get the opportunity.
She was like, oh shit. I didn't think there'd be this many of you.
And he is in way over his head. He then collects himself and is like, okay, fake it till you make it. And a stern, assertive voice tells him they're completely surrounded. If they make a move, all the Marines in the tree line that you can't see, don't look for them. They're there, I promise. If you make a move, they're all gonna shoot you. Just fucking cooperate and listen to me. I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm gonna escort you back to the lines. We'll feed you. We'll take care of you. Your POWs, you're not gonna be harmed. He then asks them if there's anybody else in the bunker. The Japanese soldiers tell him only the 4 dead bodies from the grenade blast, and he's like, okay, cool, here's the deal. Raise your hands over your head and start running that way. I'm gonna run behind you. Guy wants to get the fuck out of there before they realize that he's literally just one dude by himself.
Also, to put it in perspective again, someone would have heard 2 grenades go off. We gotta get the fuck out of here before anyone shows up to fucking look.
So they all take off running. Guy's running behind him with his rifle raised at him. And in a matter of minutes, they break through the jungle and they can see the Marine Corps lines. And Guy's like, oh shit, thank God, we are way closer than I thought we were. Apparently low crawling through the jungle in pitch black, following nothing but smells, kind of makes you lose your sense of direction. They break through, they get to the lines. Guy hands off these 12 new prisoners to the chain of command. And then Captain Schwab comes up and is like, Guy,
what the fuck?
What the fuck? He's like, what did I tell you? I told you if you did that again, I was going to court-martial you. But here's the deal. The other 2 prisoners have been interrogated, and they gave us a bunch of valuable intel that's going to save a bunch of Marine lives. And these 12 are going to provide even more valuable intel. So I don't know what the fuck to do with you. And the entire thing just kind of turns into like, I'm not going to tell you you can do this, but also if you do it, and you're successful, you're probably not going to get in trouble. It's kind of the whole, I'm just going to look the other way thing.
Yeah, I'll look the other way as long as you're fucking successful. The moment you fuck up, though, I can't save you.
So now that he's kind of got the green light, he goes out the next night. And now it's a whole thing. Like the Marines are having betting pools, betting on how many prisoners Guy's going to bring in next. Like
such a Marine thing, such a Marine thing to do. Just, oh, hey, Schwab more or less just got the go-ahead to do this. How many people you think you're gonna bring back tonight? I bet 4. I bet 5. I bet 10. Like,
March Madness. And his buddy Hurley is either crazy or he has an extreme amount of faith in his best friend.
Oh, does he go with him?
Did the math and was like, okay, well, he captured 2 the first night, then 12. He's probably going to catch 50 the next time. I mean, if the pattern continues. So he puts a bunch of money in the pot that Guy is going to capture 50 enemy soldiers by himself next.
That's very interesting. How'd you come up with that guess?
Guess? That ain't no guess. That's what it's gonna be.
So Guy goes out, does the same thing again, tracks down a spot where the enemies are going to be, and he's right up against this mountain, and there's this cave complex, waits there all night, listens, observes, and then when the dawn comes, he goes out and he orders them to surrender. And at this point, he's getting it dialed in. He figures out that if he yells into the caves with like a condescending tone, it kind of demoralizes the Japanese soldiers because they're very status oriented in Japanese culture. So if they're getting talked to condescendingly, it gives them that feeling in the pit of their stomach, like, oh shit, why is he so confident? He must know something I don't. I must have already lost. So he's yelling into this cave in the condescending tone, like,
that's great fucking mind games. Like, holy shit, that's super cool that he thought of that.
You're completely surrounded. All our guns are aimed at this cave complex. You guys have 5 minutes to come out, or I'm gonna have the flamethrowers come in here and barbecue all your asses alive. He's like negotiating. He's really getting this thing dialed in. He appeals to their Bushido code of honor. He's like, look, you guys have already lost. There's no point in dying, depriving your wives and kids of a father for your code of honor. Just give it up, come out, surrender. I'm gonna feed you, I'm gonna take care of you. You're not gonna be mistreated. Just end this nonsense. And sure enough, dudes start coming out with their hands up. Not just Imperial soldiers, but some civilians too. 52 people come out of this cave complex. Guy probably internally shitting himself because he doesn't even have 52 bullets on him, more than likely. He can't handle this situation, but he's got confidence and hey, fake it till you make it, right? So he's like, hey, you're completely surrounded. You try anything.
Holy dude is running the fake and fucking fake it shit. Holy fuck.
Here's the deal. Take your white undershirt off. We're going to wave that above our head like a white flag so you don't get shot approaching the line because I'm marching an entire fucking company of people towards the line that are all Japanese. So, yeah. Grab your white shirts, start waving them, and we're gonna run that way. And with that, Guy brings in 52 POWs, hands them over to the chain of command, and he is essentially given the official green light to be a lone wolf going out doing his maverick shit on his own. The chain of command is now not only looking the other way, but they're basically endorsing it as much as they possibly can. And Captain Schwab gives him the nickname, the Pied Piper of Saipan. And Hurley wins the bet pool because
Let's go, Hurley! My dude knows how to hustle.
Nobody thought he was going to be bringing in more than 50 prisoners because that would be insane. Fast forward, Guy goes out on another solo mission, and at this point, it's basically just rinse and repeat. He's got this whole thing dialed in. He goes out, finds an enemy cave or an enemy dugout, waits till the morning, calls in, you know, hey, come out with your hands up. You're completely surrounded. No point in dying for your Bushido code of honor. You've already lost.
It can't work this well every time, though.
Fighters. Yada, yada, yada. Unfortunately, on this occasion, a single Japanese soldier comes walking out of the cave with his rifle shouldered. Guy immediately drops him and then yells back into the cave, I said come out with your hands up. Like, guys, this...
Okay, I was gonna say, it can't work every fucking time, though.
Simple instructions. I really need you to follow them. Sure enough, 12 Japanese soldiers come out with their hands up. They start making their way back to the Marine Corps lines. Guy isn't even having them run anymore. He's just having them walk with their hands up. He's gotten more confidence. He knows they're not going to turn on him. He's really starting to feel like he's got the situation under control. And as they're making their way back to the Marine Corps lines, they go through this field, and in this field, there's an ox tied up to a plow. And Guy instructs one of the Japanese guys, like, hey, go get a hold of that ox. Everybody else hop on the cart, and has one Japanese guy escort the ox while he has a gun pointed at the whole lot of them on this trailer. In his head, he's thinking like, that way, if they make a move, I can just unload on the trailer. They're all nice and condensed. I'll be able to take out everybody. But when he approaches the line, the Marines are all laughing their ass off because now Guy is bringing back prisoners and POWs on a fucking ox-guided cart like it's the Oregon Trail.
Uh-oh, slight hiccup.
But it's not all sunshine and rainbow.
Uh-oh. What happens? I'm getting really immersed in this shit. I'm really enjoying this.
Everything doesn't always go according to plan because one of the next times he goes out, he almost dies, but he doesn't almost...
Honestly, the biggest surprise is that this actually works. Like, I get that he could speak Japanese. Like, they must have been incredibly demoralized by this point for him being like, there's no point in dying for the Bushido code. Like, it is insane that this actually works out for him as well as it has. That is not something I would think of, considering all the stories I fucking heard about this.
From the enemy, he almost dies from the Marines. He's out in the jungle looking for enemies, and then all of a sudden he just starts taking indirect fire from artillery, mortars coming from where the Marines are. They're just blowing the entire side of this mountain the fuck up. He runs, he dives in between two rocks. He's literally just huddled up in the fetal position, hiding by these rocks as this massive artillery barrage just keeps destroying the earth around him. And it just keeps going and it keeps going. He's in the fetal position hiding for 10 hours straight while they bombard this area all night long. And somewhere during this 10 hours, it dawns on him, oh shit, if they're bombarding this much, they must have seen a ton of activity here. Even when the artillery stops, I'm probably going to be completely surrounded. I got to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, this isn't fucking good.
Fire stops. He hops up and is booking it back towards the Marine Corps lines. And he comes up on a bunch of Japanese. Well, what's left of a bunch of Japanese. They're just pieces at this point, really. And there's just, you know, anatomical confetti everywhere. And he's like, oh, that's a nice watch. That's a nice watch. Oh, they also have sake and hard candy. And he just basically, you know, loots all these bodies for all the good shit, which is that a war crime? Kinda. Does anybody care? No, not really. Everybody's doing it in World War II.
There's worse war crimes being committed in World War II.
Part of the game. So
let's
he
all
comes
admit
back to the front lines, not with prisoners, but with a bunch of sake. So everybody's happy.
Very good.
And then for his next adventure, he again almost dies. And again, it's not by the enemy, it's by other Marines and a lack of communication. You see, Guy is now no longer officially working as a scout, despite the fact that that's his MLS. He's been now working with the intelligence section because, well, he's basically just going out and capturing POWs and turning them over to military intelligence. So that's who he's working with. And one of the scout platoons asked for 2 volunteers to go with him from the intelligence section. So obviously Guy and Hurley volunteer to go. Now the scouts,
Hurley,
it's a
my
small
man,
unit of like 8-12 guys. They're used to going out behind the wire together. They're used to communicating. They know how to look out for one another. They're all friends. They all know each other. And Guy and Hurley are the 2 guys that are kind of tagging along. So in the dark and night, the scouts aren't.
That's super cool that Hurley got lumped in with the intelligence with him.
Really paying attention.
Now that I think about it, like Hurley was a scout too, but I guess he was because he's like friends with fucking. Because he's like his partner or whatever. That's cool.
Used to having stragglers that don't know what they're doing and don't know how to keep up with them. And they end up losing the scouts in the middle of the night. And it's just him and Hurley, and they're lost. So they try to catch back up and find the scouts, but they're not able to do it. They're scouts, they're sneaky. That's the whole point. So Hurley's like, well, let's just head back to the Marine Corps line. And Guy's like, no, absolutely not. Everybody's gonna think that we're cowards and we dipped out on this scout mission. So we're just gonna go look and try to find some more POWs or keep trying to find the scouts for a couple hours. That's what they do. They're
nah, bro, fuck that. We're gonna go find our own shit.
Roaming around the jungle at night looking for the scouts. And eventually they're like, okay, fuck it. We'll go back to the line. Nobody's gonna think we're a coward at this point. So they head back to the line. It's still dark out. And you know, this is a bigger mission with more people involved. So it was a little bit more coordinated, and there was a password for going out behind the wire, and the password tonight was to yell cities, and then the line was going to respond back with the name of a US city, and then they were supposed to respond back with another name of another US city. So they kind of approach the line, they yell out cities, and the Marines just start opening up with machine gun fire. They duck into a foxhole and take cover, and they're like, what the fuck is going on? The fire finally dies down, and they yell out again, cities. The Marines open up fire again.
What the fuck is your guys' issue?
Guy and Hurley don't realize
Nah, I'd be kind of pissed.
This in the moment, but the scouts had already returned and they had used that password, and the guards knew that there was only 1 unit out there that was going to use that password. So
Did the scouts not let you know, hey, we lost our 2 intelligence guys. They may come back.
Guards in their head are thinking that Japanese were trailing the scouts. They heard what the password was, and now they're trying to take advantage of it to sneak up on the Marines.
Did you not think of that?
Guy doesn't know that yet, but he does know that yelling cities isn't working. So he just yells out in perfect English, "We're Marines. Stop shooting." The Marines on guard then yell out, "What's the password?" And Guy, in a stroke of brilliance, yells out the name of a US city, but he picks a very particular city because he knows that a Japanese soldier isn't going to be able to say it correctly, and that's going to signal to the Marines, oh shit, they're actually Americans. So Guy yells out Honolulu, knowing that a Japanese person trying to copy.
Yes, because it's just like we used, what was it? Lollapalooza was a very popular one because it was very hard for the Japanese to actually pronounce
it. Honolulu.
Nice, very nice. Thanks.
And with that, they're let back into the Marine lines without getting shot at. You can't say that. That was kind of racist. Okay, first of all, I'm just repeating history. This is what happened. That's not my fault. Secondly, if you own a pair of...
Also, it's been a while since we had one of these fucking things. Let me go back and restart
First
it.
of all, I'm just repeating history. This is what happened.
It's been a while
That's
since
not
we
my
got one of
fault.
these.
Secondly, if you own a pair of Lululemons or you've ever been to a mall with a Lululemon store and that didn't offend you, shut up. Go ahead and Google why Lululemon is called Lululemon and get back to me with the racism bullshit. From here, the Battle of Saipan is progressing, and day by day, the Marines are taking over more and more of the island. And with that, Guy kind of abandons his original protocol of waiting until morning, and he just starts going out during the day. He starts going out at night. Whenever he captures a group of prisoners, he brings them in, and then if it's still got time left in the day or time left at night, or he doesn't
goes
need
back
sleep or
out?
food, he just goes right back out again and captures even more prisoners. And as this continues to go on, he kind of becomes more and more of a renegade. He quits wearing his Marine Corps cap and he starts wearing just a normal baseball cap. He quits wearing his Marine Corps boots and starts wearing boots that he took off of a Japanese soldier. His reasoning for that is, I guess when it hits the ground, it's going to sound the same, so it won't alert the Japanese.
I mean, I guess maybe. I guess you could also say if they see tracks, they'll see Japanese footprints instead of American footprints as well. I think that makes more sense than it sounds the same. But dude went full fucking spook on this. Is what I'm getting at. Is what I feel like he's getting at. Is that dude went full fucking spook.
He starts taking any medals off of Japanese that he captures or kills and putting them on his own uniform because he feels that he's earned them because he beat them in battle. He's really growing into that Pied Piper mythical persona, but nobody
Kind
really
of
says
weird,
anything
but
to
okay.
the guy because he's so overwhelmingly effective. I mean, every single person that he brings back is A, a person, whether it's an enemy or not, it's a person that he saved, and B, he probably saved at least one Marine because that guy was gonna kill a Marine. So he's saving a ton of lives and people just kind of let him do whatever the fuck he wants. And as he keeps going out on this mission, he keeps acquiring cool shit. He's got some Japanese officer katanas. He's got a Japanese officer pistol that he keeps on his side as like his trademark. He's got all kinds of cool Japanese flags. He has all of these war trophies, which is frowned upon today, but in World War II was completely normal. And some of the other Marines start to get a little bit jealous. They want—
Well, how about the fucking fact that it was fairly standard for them to send back skulls? Yeah. Marines would send skulls of fucking Imperials to their loved ones at home.
cool shit too.
Some really
so he
fucky
starts
shit.
bringing out Marines with him on these missions, usually only one guy at a time. On one occasion, his best buddy Hurley goes out with him because he wants a sword. Hurley goes out on one mission. It was pretty protocol standard for him, but Hurley thought it was absolutely crazy. He felt like he almost died. He vowed to never go out on a mission with Guy ever again. On a couple of occasions,
Hurley got the survival instinct. I did it once. I ain't doing that shit
he
again.
took
Fuck
out
you.
Captain Schaub on missions because Schaub, he wanted to see what was going on. He's been in the Marine Corps longer than Guy has. He was a veteran of Tarawa. He'd never seen an Imperial Japanese soldier willingly surrender that wasn't like seriously wounded on the battlefield and they scooped him up as a casualty. Like he couldn't understand it. He wanted to see it for himself. So they go up to this cave. Guys yell some shit into the cave in Japanese, and Captain Schaub's like, What'd you tell him? And he's like, I told him I was going to blow him the fuck up if they didn't come out here with their hands up. And he's like, huh. Well, that worked. And then they brought back a bunch more prisoners and they just keep doing
that. Fucking worked. Oh, did he fucking,
guy goes out on his
did
own,
he steal a motorcycle?
Sugarcane fields, and he eventually comes up onto the farmhouse that all these sugarcane fields belong to. And as he's sneaking through these sugarcane fields, he gets a view of the front of the house, and sitting out in front of the house is a brand new Harley. It's not really a conventional motorcycle. It's like a three-wheeler with a little cart thing on the back to haul shit, but it's a Harley nonetheless, and Guy loves riding his motorcycle back home. He wants this Harley. And at first, he can't believe it. Like, what is an American-made motorcycle doing here? And I thought that was weird, too, and I tried to figure out why or how an American-made.
Yeah, that's instantly, that's my first, like, did he just call it a Harley? No, it's an actual branded Harley. Okay, why the fuck do they have it?
Motorcycle would be getting used by the Japanese military, and apparently during the Great Depression, Harley was struggling, so they actually gave out a licensing agreement to Japanese companies so that Japanese companies could recreate their own version of a Harley, and then they would manufacture them in China, and they were very popular in the 1930s, and they were used by the Japanese military all through World War II. So to be fair, it's technically not a legitimate Harley made by Harley here in the US, but it is Harley's design manufactured by a Japanese company. It's the closest thing he's going to get to a Harley. Not really believing it's a Harley at first. He starts creeping closer and closer towards this farmhouse. He's like 200 yards away and he gets closer, He's like 150 yards away and he's like, that's for sure a Harley. I know what a Harley looks like. That's a fucking Harley. Not only is that a Harley, that's my Harley. I'm taking that shit. But obviously there's military people inside this farmhouse. He needs to case the place first. So he starts working his way through the sugarcane fields around this farmhouse, getting a good 360 view, figuring out everything that's going on. It takes him like 30 minutes to creep through this sugarcane field, getting a good 360 layout of this farmhouse. And the entire time he's just thinking to himself, like, I'm gonna be the first American on Saipan to have a Harley. This is gonna be absolutely awesome. As the front of the farmhouse and the Harley comes back into view, now there's three.
This is, yeah, I don't know. How bad does it, oh, it doesn't have the chapters. I was gonna say, he seems, something I feel like is gonna go wrong because he seems to be getting really full of himself.
Japanese soldiers outside
just super worrying
by his motorcycle. And at this point, he's like, fuck, okay, they're not gonna surrender. It's broad daylight. They can clearly see that I don't have them surrounded. This isn't like normal where I have them cornered in a cave and I get to soften them up with grenades and smoke grenades. Like, this is literally just a good on straight up 1v3 fight. I can't bullshit my way through this one. He's like 30 yards away from these guys, hiding in this sugarcane field, just watching them. And he's thinking to himself, like, I should not have swapped out my M1 Grand for this M1 carbine. The M1 carbine, significantly smaller bullet.
I'm just stuck on, this seems very, like I said, a very slippery slope. This is very, I don't know how I feel about this. Like, yeah, I get there. I don't know. Like, this seems very, I want to say bandit-y, but not really, if you know what I mean. Like, this seems very not right, I guess is what I want to say.
But you have to shoot a man 2-3 times to put him down, or you got to hit him in the exact right spot. It's not like the M1 Grand, which is a high-powered hunting rifle chambered in 30-06, where you hit somebody, they fucking drop. So at this point, he's kicking himself for giving up his M1 Grand. On top of that, he's not a great shot, and he knows he's not a great shot. He barely qualified with his rifle at basic training. So he's just sitting in the sugarcane field weighing his options,
hero
and
without,
he's like, okay, I can just make a clean getaway, but reasons I don't want to do that is A, if I let these guys go, they're gonna go on to kill more Marines. And B, I want this fucking motorcycle. But then, as he's watching these three guys, one of them decides that they're gonna sit on top of the motorcycle. And in Guy's own words, and I quote, I don't like that.
I come about my bicycle, you son of a bitch!
He then immediately jumps up, fires a round straight at that guy's head, makes a direct hit, and then mag dumps the other two as he's walking towards them, dropping all three of them in a surprise
Jesus.
attack. As he's running up to his bike, he makes sure all three of these guys are dead. He reloads his carbine, hops on the bike. He's not worried about it being booby-trapped because the other guy was just sitting on it, and he fucking takes off. He's in a hurry, doesn't know if there's more soldiers in that farmhouse or not, and he's not sticking around to find out. So he peels off, puts a bunch of distance between him and that farmhouse, finds some cover, pulls over real quick, pops his top off, pulls his white undershirt off, throws his top back on, and then continues driving back to the base. As he gets within eyesight of the Marine Corps lines, he's driving one-handed, waving his white skivvy shirt over his head so they don't shoot him. He makes it into the base, and everybody's like blown away. Guy has a fucking Harley in Japan. Everybody's coming up, they're talking to him, they're checking out the motorcycle, like this is the big event for the day, like this is the cool thing that's gonna—
Okay, the fact it says my, either that's just because of his quote, or what officer tries to take it.
Happened today. And then after a little while, some major comes up and is like, everybody off the bike, we need it over at headquarters. And they just straight up confiscate Guy's motorcycle. He tries to argue with the major. Major's not having it. He outranks him. Go fuck yourself. You're a private first class. I'm a major. I'm taking this motorcycle. It's mine. So in the moment, Guy's pissed off. He wanted that bike. But in hindsight, later in life, he did say it was probably all for the best because he was a young, dumb kid, and riding that Harley through enemy territory probably would have gotten him killed. And at the end of the day, he was just happy to be the first American on Saipan to ever have a Harley. All the events that we've talked about have all unfolded in the matter of like a couple of weeks. The Battle of Saipan only goes from June 14th till July 9th. And by early July, the Marines had taken over most of the island. And it was very clear to everybody on the island that the Marines were going to take the entire—
So homeboy fucking got shit done.
Because of that, both the Japanese soldiers and the Japanese civilians get more and more desperate, and it turns into one of the most brutal and horrific events that I've ever looked into. Remember,
Oh, no.
as I stated earlier, because of Japanese propaganda, a significant portion of the Japanese population truly believes that America is cannibalistic barbarians that will do horrible, unspeakable things
Oh,
to
what
them if they are
happens?
captured. And
Oh,
it is
this
better
isn't
to die
good.
fighting the Americans or to just die than be captured. Because of
Oh, this isn't gonna turn out good, is it? This isn't. Oh, this is gonna
as
be
Guy
sad,
continues
isn't
to
it?
clear more caves, there's an increasing number of civilians that sometimes they surrender with the Japanese soldiers. Sometimes he comes across caves with no Japanese soldiers and he convinces them to surrender. But on other occasions, there's caves where they don't surrender and he ends up throwing his grenades into the caves and he ends up killing civilians. More often than not, they were all holding guns, ready to fight him to the death, and he just didn't have an option. On one occasion, he approaches a cave and he yells into the cave, you know, come out, surrender, we're not gonna hurt you, yada, yada, yada. And an elderly man and an elderly woman, a couple like in their 60s, walk out, grandparents, and they're standing there and the old man has a grenade in his hand with his hand on the pin.
Don't do
Guy
it.
tells him to drop the grenade and the old man just looks at him, pulls the pin, lets the spoon go and holds it as Guy takes cover and he just stands there holding it until it detonates, killing him and his wife, clearly under the impression that that was a better alternative than to be captured by Guy. As the Marines progressed and took the island, obviously they were taking cities and small villages, and Guy was going with these larger military movements, doing everything he could to try to convince people to surrender and not have to get killed by the Marines. Like, don't fight, just give up, please. And what would happen more often than not when they came to a village was once it became clear that the Marines were going to win and people truly believed that the Marines were going to do horrible things if they were captured, some of the soldiers and a lot of the civilians, rather than being captured, would run to nearby cliffs and jump off, thinking that that would be a better death. Now, obviously, this is absolutely horrible for...
Oh. Fucking, like... That's horrendous. Like, I knew that kind of shit happened, but fuck me, God, that's so depressing.
Anybody that has to witness this, nobody wants that to happen, but to Guy, it was especially traumatic because he was the only Marine there that could understand Japanese and hear what these people were saying, as him and the Marines are begging and pleading these people not to jump off these cliffs.
Oh, that just made it even worse. I didn't think about that. The fact that he actually knows what they're talking about and he has to hear them. Oh no.
I can actually hear and understand children begging their parents not to kill them because they don't understand. They don't know the Japanese propaganda. They don't understand why their parents are about to hurl them off of a cliff. And Guy has to just sit there and witness it. And there's nothing he can do.
That's gonna fuck with, that would fuck with your head.
On July 6th,
that would, hold on. That would absolutely fuck with your mental to hear that. That would absolutely fuck with your mental. Holy shit.
1944, Guy goes out on another solo mission. He sneaks out into the jungle. It's an overnight mission, doesn't really find anybody during the day, and he's in an area that today is known as Marpai Point or the Bonsai Cliffs. Guy had no idea that this was actually the hottest area in Saipan at this point in time, and that General Saito, the Japanese general remaining on the island, had ordered all of his remaining forces, almost 5,000 Japanese soldiers, that they were going to die with honor, and they are all ordered to launch bonsai attacks and take 7 Americans with them before they died for the emperor. It was Japan's last-ditch effort to maintain control of the island. By the next morning, July 7th, all of these bonsai attacks had commenced, and Guy was behind enemy lines.
That's such a so fucking depressing. It's such a waste of human life for nothing. That's always the worst part about learning about the Pacific. It's just, it's so much life gone.
Surrounded by thousands of enemy soldiers and has no other option but to climb to a high vantage point and watch this intense battle unfold. The Marines do take casualties, but it's nothing compared to what the Japanese experience. The Japanese are just running head on into Marine machine gun fire, dying at a rate of 8-1 to that of the Marines. Over 4,500 Japanese soldiers die that day conducting these bonsai charges. Guy stays out all day and all night again because he's behind enemy lines, completely surrounded. He's scared to move, so he just stays overnight again, and on the morning of July 8th, he starts making making his way back towards the lines when he runs into a cave that has some Japanese soldiers that had survived the bonsai attacks in there. And he's kind of thinking maybe they're going to be willing to surrender. They just suffered tremendous casualties.
Please surrender. But the way he's speaking makes me think that they don't. But please fucking surrender. You don't need to waste your life.
I can still save some of these guys. He ends up finding 2 Japanese soldiers that survived the battle. He convinces them to surrender. And as he's talking to him, he's like, is there anybody else that you know of in the area that you want to be able to go talk to and get them to surrender to, so you guys don't get killed when the Marines come through here
every
with their
chance,
flamethrowers and their grenades, because they're going to be clearing out every single cave. The soldiers tell him they are aware of a bunch of other survivors, and one of them volunteers to go and talk to those survivors and see if they're willing to surrender. The other one stays back with Guy. While the first guy is gone, he ends up talking with this Japanese soldier kind of casually and was like, you know, how come you didn't volunteer to go with him? And he's like, well, because if I can't convince them to surrender, they're gonna kill me for trying to get them to surrender.
Oh no.
At this point, Guy's kind of shitting his pants because he's like,
no. Please tell me that other guy doesn't die.
Well, either this guy legitimately is willing to risk his life to get these people to surrender, or B, and probably more likely, he just used it as an excuse to get away and he's gonna come back with more Japanese soldiers and they're gonna kill me. But he figures, fuck it, I'm committed now, so he just kind of waits.
Fuck it, we
after
ball.
a little while, 12 Japanese soldiers come walking up, not with their hands raised, but holding rifles. They're not pointed at him, but they're still holding rifles. Shit has officially hit the fan. The officer in charge of the soldiers starts talking to Guy, and Guy kind of realizes, like, okay, this guy's potentially opening to surrender. I just need to convince him. And Guy plays the entire thing perfectly. He lies his fucking ass off. He basically tells this officer, you know, please sit down, which in Japanese culture, like, kind of makes him the authority figure, like he's been sent there to negotiate.
Mind games, more mind games.
Like, General Howling Mad Smith, my shogun, sent me here because he was so impressed with how valiantly you guys fought in battle yesterday. He doesn't want to kill such great warriors in caves like vermin. He believes that you deserve an honorable life, and he wants you to surrender to him, and when the war is over, he will honorably return you to Japan to live with your people. At this point, the officer's quiet. He's thinking. Guy knows he's right on the verge of actually pulling this shit off.
You got this shit.
He pulls out his cigarettes, offers the officer one. He accepts a cigarette. Guy lights it for him. He takes a couple of drags, and the officer's like, do you have doctors? I have a lot of wounded people. And Guy is like, oh shit, I'm gonna pull this off. He's not thinking about his honor and his Bushido code, none of that bullshit.
No,
he's thinking about all the people that he can save too. And he realized
Guy got through to him. Thank fucking God.
he's gonna close this deal, and Guy's like, yes, absolutely. We have medicine, we have doctors. If you guys surrender, I can take care of everybody. And with that, the officer takes one last big drag of his cigarette and says, so be it. I'm your prisoner. The officer then orders some of his soldiers to return back to where they came from and order everybody to come out. They've surrendered. They're gonna start getting evacuated back to the Marine Corps base so they can get people to the hospital and get everybody fed and taken care of. And within 30 minutes, lines and lines of people start showing up. Lines so long that Guy can't see the end of
it. That makes me so fucking happy that the officer actually did this. That makes me so fucking happy.
And he's shitting his pants like, holy fuck, how many people are there? At this point, he's dropped his weapon. It doesn't matter anymore. He can't take all these people even if he tried. He doesn't even have enough bullets. If they want to kill him, he's dead. So he's just doing everything he can. He's trying to split up the military personnel and the civilians. He's telling the soldiers get their white skivvy shirts ready to wave surrender. He's trying to do everything he can.
This makes me so happy that this worked out.
And the officer is getting more and more impatient because he wants the people that are severely wounded to start getting medical treatment right away. But Guy doesn't have a radio. He has no way to communicate back that he needs help. And as the officer's temper is getting shorter and shorter, and Guy's starting to get that feeling in the pit of his stomach, like this guy's gonna change his mind and just kill me, the Japanese soldiers start yelling, Marines, Marines. Off in the distance, there's a Marine unit approaching, and Guy immediately tells them start waving their white shirts, and the Marines see it, and they start making their way directly towards Guy. There's a bunch of Marines coming on foot, but there's a Jeep that makes it to Guy first.
Thank God.
He tells the guys on the Jeep, here, take as many of these wounded as you can straight to sick bay. Tell them we have a bunch of people surrendering. I need more backup to help get all these people out of here. Within 30 minutes, 100 Marines show up and start helping him process all these prisoners and start getting them all back to the line. And once everything's good and going, Guy's just like, fuck this, I'm out. And he heads back to the base. He's been out for almost 3 days straight, hasn't slept. It's been the most stressful time of his life. Goes straight to his cot, eats some food, and passes out.
That'd be incredibly fucking stressful.
Shaw meets him and tells Guy that he just negotiated the surrender of over 800 Japanese prisoners.
Oh, fuck.
With that,
I cannot tell you how happy it makes me that that officer accepted the surrender and did that. Like, I cannot tell you, because over 800 instead of just dying for no fucking reason get to live on longer. That makes me so fucking happy.
The Battle of Saipan comes to an end. There's still going to be skirmishes and pockets of resistance of small Japanese units that refuse to surrender, that are willing to fight to the death, but the official battle itself has ended, and the main component of the actual organized Japanese military has been completely dismantled. And from here, Guy gets sent over to the next island known as Tinian. And for Guy, at this point, it's pretty much the same exact thing. Rinse and repeat. Same thing he was doing over on Saipan. Find Japanese holdouts, convince them to surrender, bring them in. While he's on Tinian, he actually brings in 154 more POWs. It's pretty much the same thing. Not much stands out, but there is one instance that stands out to him.
Dude, this dude is doing such good work saving
Guy
people.
finds himself at the mouth of this cave. He knows there's Japanese people in there. He yells in, gives you a spiel, you know, come out, surrender. I'm not going to hurt you. I'll take care of you. There's no point in dying for your honor. Yada, yada, yada. He gives him 3 to 5 minutes. Nothing really happens. Okay, you did this to yourself. He grabs his grenade, gets his finger on the pin, gets ready to pull it. And as his finger's on the pin, he hears a child crying inside the cave.
Oh, fuck,
so he puts his grenade back and
no!
he can't do it. He's seen too many dead kids already. These kids are truly 100% victims and all.
Oh, fuck. Hearing a kid cry is just like, no, he's like, I couldn't do it either.
This, I mean, there's civilians that are fighting, refusing to surrender. They're victims, but nowhere near to the degree that these innocent kids are. These kids don't even comprehend what's going on. And Guy has no idea what the situation is inside this cave. He could be in there with Japanese soldiers that are refusing to let them come out and
yeah, or it could just be just a group of just not... it could be just a group of kids for all he knows.
surrender, and that's not the kid's fault. And he can't. He just can't kill him for that.
No,
but he also knows
just do
that
it.
he can't let him leave that cave and have those soldiers come out and have an opportunity to kill more Marines in the future. So he doesn't know what to do. He's just sitting at the mouth of this cave, weighing his options. And after a couple minutes, an elderly woman in her 60s comes out, shaken like a leaf. She's absolutely horrified, and Guy, you know, tries to console her, like, hey, I'm not gonna hurt you. Just what's going on? I'm gonna take care of you. I'm gonna feed you. You're gonna be safe. And the old woman is just begging him, please don't hurt me, please don't hurt me. He's like, I'm not. Is there anybody else in the cave? And she says there were Japanese soldiers, but they left this morning and haven't come back. Right now it's just her and her 10-year-old granddaughter inside of this cave. And Guy is like, okay, have her come out and I'll bring you guys back to camp, get you food, medical attention, whatever you need. So
fuck, this is making me tear up. What the fuck?
Grandma goes inside the cave, comes back out with the 10-year-old granddaughter. The granddaughter is crying. She's inconsolable. The grandmother tells him, you know, this is my granddaughter, Michiko. Her father died a couple of days ago in the battle. He wasn't a soldier. He was just a sugarcane farmer, and we've been living here for a couple of years. We came here from mainland Japan, and we've been living here, and we just got
so
caught up in
fucking
this battle.
sad.
Guy feels horrible for the little girl. You know, her dad just died. He doesn't know what to do, so he just...
God, after this video, I'm gonna have to take a break from recording. I need to watch a good, just happy video. I need to watch a happy video after this. Make me feel better.
POW camp and ends up dropping them off. 2 days later, him and Hurley go out on another mission. They find another cave. Inside, there's 2 guys. One's a soldier. The other one appears to be a soldier, but he's not in a uniform. So Guy still thinks he might be a soldier. They convince him to surrender. They take him back to the Marine Corps lines, and they end up interrogating him, trying to get whatever intel they can. And Guy is there interrogating the guy that's in civilian clothing because he wants to prove that this guy's actually a soldier, so they know. And during the interrogation, he ends up telling Guy that he's not a soldier. He just came here from mainland Japan to farm sugarcane, and he starts begging.
Is it Michiko's dad? Is it the dad?
Guy, like, look, I'm not trying to fight you guys. I don't want to hurt any Americans. Just please let me go. I promise I'll come back. I have to go try to find my mother and my daughter. They're out there somewhere. And the light bulb goes off in Guy's head. Like,
it is.
There's no fucking way. And he looks at the guy and is like, what's your daughter's name? And he says, Michiko. And he goes, I know where your daughter is. He immediately runs across camp, finds Captain Schaub, tells him everything about the situation. And Captain Schaub is like, go, take a Jeep, take him to the POW camp right now, find their daughter. So they get to the POW camp. Guy explains the situation to the guard. He goes and grabs his commanding officer. Guy explains the situation. The commanding officer is like, bro, I've got thousands of people here. We're just trying to get everybody fed and keep them warm. I'm not keeping track of like names. I have no idea where this person is. They're somewhere inside the camp. If you want to go find them, knock yourself out. So they're walking through this POW camp for a while, and then finally Michiko actually sees them first and starts yelling in Japanese, father, father, and runs up and hugs her dad. They're crying. They're hugging Guy. Guy's hugging them. Everybody's crying. It's just this perfect moment where finally,
that's what it sounds
something
like.
Good has happened on this godforsaken island.
This is making me so
Guy
happy.
says their goodbyes. Michiko gives him one last hug and says in Japanese, "Thank you, Mr. Marine. Thank you." And with that, Guy sets off to get back to work. They get back to camp. Captain Schaub calls up his...
That makes me so fucking happy. Oh my God. I'm so glad he's not dead.
Crew, and he's like, okay, here's the deal. Promotions have finally come through. Everybody's getting their promotions tonight. We're giving out awards, medals. One of you has earned a very high-ranking award. Everybody kind of looks down the line at Guy, like, obviously he's getting the award. Rumor is it's going to be the Medal of Honor. He's pumped. Going to be a great time. Couple hours later, he calls him back into formation. They start handing out rank. So they go to hand out the rank first. Guy does not get a promotion. Guy should be getting a promotion just based off of how long he's been in theater alone, not including all the extraordinary shit he's done. What the fuck is going on? He's already getting kind of pissed. In the back of his mind, he's like, maybe it's okay. Maybe they're about to give me the Medal of Honor and they're going to give me the rank at the same time. That makes sense, right? So
nope,
they start giving out awards, and
he?
Captain Schaub did in fact put Guy in for the Medal of Honor. He wrote the whole thing up, sent it up the chain of command, and they bumped it down to a silver star. So Guy is awarded a silver star, not the Medal of Honor, and he receives no rank. There's no way around it. Guy is absolutely pissed off. I mean, Alvin York earned the Medal of Honor when he captured 132 POWs. Guy has captured over 800 in a single day, and his total is well over 1,000.
See, now that's some bullshit.
That is some bullshit.
There's absolutely no reason he shouldn't be a sergeant or higher and have the Medal of Honor. The only thing he can come up with is that it's because of his race. And to be fair, that's a strong possibility. As I said, the Marine Corps was 100% white until 1941. He was one of the first not white Marines. And the higher you go up that command structure, the older those guys are. I mean, the high-ranking Marines at this point in time are all dudes that fought in World War I. Presumably, they were more racist than the younger generation. So it would make it extremely hard for things like rank and medals to get awarded to somebody that was Hispanic with a Hispanic name. Now, personally, I do think that that definitely did play a role, but the part that he's not really considering is that while he was doing incredible things, those incredible things were very Maverick type behavior, going out at lone wolf style, doing what you want.
I do see that as well. While yes, I agree with him in that it was probably also had something to do with his race, is probably definitely a contributing factor. Also, yes, it probably also doesn't help that what he was doing was very anti like standard military practice, you know, where you were doing very much so lone wolf Maverick shit. I understand it. I'd still be pissed.
How you want, acting how you want.
You're allowed to be pissed about it, but I understand.
It's not
whatever.
The type of thing that the Marine Corps or any branch of the military would want to enshrine and uphold and say, hey, this is how everybody should be acting to achieve the highest honors. Because let's face it, if everybody was trying to do what Guy was doing, it would be absolute chaos and nothing would get done.
Yeah,
that being said, I still think Guy deserved the Medal of Honor. If the chain of command is willing to look the other way to let him accomplish incredible things, they should also have the balls to reward him for accomplishing those incredible things.
Exactly. I do. Oh, he goes back to Saipan.
All right, from here, Guy ends up going back to Saipan. Tinian was a much smaller island. They faced a lot less resistance. It was a much shorter battle. It was only about 6 or 7 days. And after that, they send him back to Saipan because there's still a bunch of rogue elements, small units of Japanese soldiers that are basically conducting guerrilla warfare, willing to fight to the bitter end, trying to resist the Americans. The ringleader in this entire thing is Captain Obu. He's the mastermind behind all this guerrilla warfare. And Guy decides he's going to go out there, he's going to track down Captain Obu, and he's either going to bring him in as a POW or he's gonna kill him.
I can bring you in warm.
Damn!
So Guy resumes his normal operations on Saipan. He's going out, he's taking in POWs, he's clearing out caves, he's doing his thing. And then one day, a larger army element comes in and asks if they can borrow some marine intelligence guys to show them around the island because they're there to help clean up Saipan too. Guy volunteers to be one of the guys that goes with him. He's guiding these army guys around, and while he's guiding this bigger unit around, they end up getting ambushed by Obu's men. In the opening minutes of the ambush, Guy is hit with machine gun fire, getting struck in the rib, having a bullet knock his baseball cap off, grazing his head, and having a bullet pass through his wrist, shattering the bone, and now his bone is sticking outside of his arm. Last thing Guy remembers hearing is the Army commander yelling, "Get this Marine out of here." Next thing he knows, he's waking up in an Army field hospital somewhere. He's laying down on a cot, and a nurse is holding a piece of cardboard between him and his hand as the doctor is presumably operating on it. And he's just asking the doctor, "Are you guys going to amputate my hand? Please don't amputate my hand." And the doctor doesn't really reply as one of the nurses puts a mask over his face and tells him to count backwards from 10, and he loses consciousness again. Next thing Guy knows, he's waking up in a hospital, feels like he's been hit by a truck, and he's hungover. He immediately looks down at his hand, sees that it's bandaged up with his fingers sticking out the bandages, and he exclaims to the nurse all happy, like, "Hey, I've still got my hand." To which this grizzled Army nurse is like, "Yeah, congratulations. Hey, did you know that you were allergic to morphine?" And he's like, "No, why?" She goes, "Because you're super allergic to morphine and you almost fucking died. Don't ever let any..."
Oh shit, that's so lucky he didn't die. Oh shit, dude cannot catch a fucking break. Holy fuck.
Anybody give you any type of narcotics ever again.
You promise you won't take any?
I promise. Come on, give me some. Let's go, man. That smells like...
Oh shit.
Guy spends the next couple of days in the hospital. His
sounds like something he would do.
Everybody's happy that he's okay. And then the Marine Corps, you know, administrative guys come in and they basically inform him that he's going to be med boarded out of the Marine Corps and he's getting shipped back home. Guy argues and then begs and then pleads that they let him stay in the Marine Corps. He's doing something important. He can go out there and save so many more people if they just keep letting him do what he's doing. But they basically tell him, like, "Look, man, by the time you're fully recovered from this injury, this war is probably going to be over. It's winding down right now. On top of that, even if the war isn't over and you're fully recovered, we can't send you back out into frontline combat with how severe your morphine allergy is. You're going to end up getting killed that way." So they just make the decision they're going to send him home. From here, Guy finishes, you know, his initial recovery, gets a couple of days to go back to his camp.
That's sad, but ultimately probably the best decision.
Say goodbye to everybody, collect his belongings. He gets back into his tent. Everything's fucking thrown everywhere. They've stolen all of his shit. He had katanas, Japanese
fuckers! You stole my shit?
Pistols, Japanese medals, flags, all kinds of war trophies, and somebody went in and stole absolutely everything. He's pissed off. He goes, he tells Captain Schaub. Captain Schaub is also pissed off. He says he's going to launch an investigation, but ultimately nothing ever comes of it, and he never gets his stuff back. And that's it. Guy heads back home to America. So Guy gets back home to America, pretty much immediately decides that he's going to move to Mexico, becomes an entrepreneur, opens up a furniture business, sells that, takes the money, invests in a new business. He's into imports and exports. He's also got a fishing business on the side, ends up buying his own plane. He's super into aviation, falls in love with that. And then while he's also living in Mexico, he meets his wife, Ohana Suzuki. They end up getting married. And then in 1957, he has the opportunity to go on a very popular TV show at the time called This Is Your Life. They bring on Guy. He gets to tell his story, and then they surprise him by bringing out now Colonel Schaub that he served under while he was on Saipan, and a bunch of the other guys from the intelligence unit that he was in, and they all completely verify his story that he captured at least 1,500 men and had 33 confirmed kills. Once his amazing...
I know I say this a lot when it comes to his videos because, yeah, it's true. How the fuck have I never heard of this dude?
Story got out, Hollywood heard about it, and they decided they were going to make a movie based on his exploits on Saipan, and that movie came out in 1960. It was called Hell to Eternity, and of course, for the main actor playing Guy Gabaldon, they cast a 6-foot-tall white guy because, you know, that just looks better than a 5'3", 120-pound Hispanic guy accomplishing all this epic shit. Buh! Why are you harping on the racism thing again? Why does it matter that he was cast as a white guy? Buh! Because it's fucking dumb. That's why.
That is fucking dumb. He was fucking Hispanic. Like, I don't care who you are. That's fucking stupid. He's Hispanic and he's not tall. If it's a tall Hispanic dude, I can overlook it, but the race thing is very big fucking part.
A fictional character called Snow White is portrayed as a Colombian girl. I'm gonna get 1,000 times more mad when a real-life war hero has to be portrayed as a different race and be significantly taller, okay? Guy Gabaldon
I'm gonna be pissed about it too.
6-foot-tall, blonde-haired, blue-eyed white guy. He should be a 5'3" Hispanic dude, exactly how he was in real life. Guy is a war hero. Show him some respect.
Exactly. Exactly. I can look, the thing is, I can look over the height thing as long as he's Hispanic. But he's not. Why would you do this? Fucking Hollywood.
Sorry, anyways, after his appearance on This Is Your Life and the movie coming out, there was an enormous push. Everybody was like, why the fuck didn't this guy get the Medal of Honor? Colonel Schaub said that he signed him up for the Medal of Honor and it was kicked down. Nobody knows why. Give this dude the Medal of Honor. Unfortunately, so much time had passed at this point. I mean, it's been 16 years. They were so far away from the event occurring that it would take a literal act of Congress to get him the Medal of Honor, and it just doesn't come to fruition. So they upgrade his Silver Star to the next highest award below the Medal of Honor, the Navy Cross. Cutting back to...
I want to know, does he ever meet back up with Michiko and her dad and everything?
Real life guy is still running all of his countries all over Central America. Fidel Castro has come to power. Huge communist movement spreads throughout Central America. There's communist movements in a bunch of countries that he's operating in, and they're trying to nationalize a lot of his business. For those of you that don't know, nationalize is the communist term for I'm gonna steal all your shit. So Guy absolutely hates communism, man after my own heart. He gets pissed off and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna go fight Fidel Castro. Puts an ad out in the paper for other war veterans that are willing to grab guns and go to Cuba to fight the communist regime with him, and gets over 1,000 volunteers and legitimately starts organizing his own militia. Guy is like organizing an amphibious landing of Cuba.
What the fuck? Yeah, I'm just gonna put an ad out on the fucking paper to go fight fucking Castro.
So
Holy
he can go
shit.
to war and overthrow Fidel Castro, and is like making headway until the United States Attorney General has to step in and put a kibosh to the entire thing. From here, Guy realizes that his best bet is to just sell all of his companies before they get nationalized. So that's what he does. He sells his companies and then ends up moving with his wife Ohana back to Japan. They lived there for a number of years, then they moved back to California for a little while, and then they end up retiring in Florida, where he would eventually pass away at the age of 80. And that is the story of Guy Gabaldon, aka the Pied Piper of Saipan, a 5'3" Marine that used his ability to communicate to capture over 1,500 POWs and racked up 33 confirmed kills. Not only did he save those 1,500 POWs, but he saved countless Marines that would have died fighting them in combat as well. Okay, if you're not picking up what I'm putting down, I'm trying to tell you that the moral of the story is to communicate. It's literally the most important thing you can possibly do as a human being. Okay, every animal on the planet, the second they are born, they have the ability to do whatever is most important for their survival right out of the gate. When a horse is born, it can sprint in like 30 minutes. When a bee is born, it flies off and starts gathering pollen. And when a human is born, the first thing it does is scream. It attempts to communicate with the people around it. So please, for the love of God, communicate. It's the most important skill you have as a person. Thank you for watching. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch over at thefatelectrician.com. Quack bang, out.
Honestly, I'm gonna say this. The only thing that could make this fucking story better is if he actually met back up with the fucking dad. That'd be the only thing that made this story better.
Would somebody go update his Wikipedia page so it says the first American to own a motorcycle on Saipan? Please. I feel like he'd appreciate it. All right, for 4th of July,
definitely fucking would.
A fully decked out Jeep Gladiator. It has absolutely everything. It has 44-inch wide
I didn't know he did
rear
this.
axles, a 3.5-inch lift, aftermarket shocks, 37-inch tires with a full-size spare in the back, and custom leather interior.
Damn, that's a nice truck.
All you have to do to get entered to win is head over to Bunker Branding or thefatelectrician.com and buy some Fat Electrician merch. I don't care what it is. Shirts, hats, hoodies, water bottles, rubber ducks, absolutely anything is fair game. For every $5 you spend between June 30th and July 31st, you are automatically going to be entered one time to win this Jeep Gladiator. We're going to announce the winner in August. Now, the downside of all of this is that you're not allowed to do nice things without the government getting their cut too, meaning that if you win this Jeep, it's going to count as taxable income on your tax return, and you're going to have to pay thousands and thousands of dollars, both in sales tax, registration, and this being taxable income on your taxes. So I'm also going to give the winner a check for $10,000 to hopefully cover all of that. It kind of depends on state to state, and of course, it's going to come with an autographed rubber duck.
That's so fucking cool. Like, he didn't have to necessarily put that. No, that's dope that he's like, yeah, because of all this bullshit, I'm also going to help you guys out with it. That's cool. I like, you didn't have to do that. That's super cool.
Go get some Fat Electrician merch over at Bunker Branding or thefatelectrician.com. Quack bang, out.
And so he would go up that mouth of that cave and he'd jabber, 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 and pretty soon somebody would dribble out, not always, but a good part of the time, because he could speak their language, and they apparently they warmed up to that. Well, this was a time when I was out with him on one of these deals.
Is this Shab or Hurley?
I said, "What do you tell them that?"
Oh, Shab.
He said, "I tell them to get their goddamn ass out of there." But he told them in their language.
He almost called it his language.
You're a damn fool to stay in there and get killed, and we'll give you medical attention, we'll give you food, we'll give you water and all that, and treat you right. And he was able to convince them of that.
So fucking cool. I'm so glad so much. I'm still stuck on the fucking, I'm still stuck on him being able to convince the officer to surrender. That makes me so happy. I'm so happy Michiko got her dad back and he didn't actually die. I'm so glad that the grandma fucking came out and everything. Like, it honestly makes me so fucking happy. I'm so glad everything worked out. God, make sure you check out the original. It's so fucking good. You can watch it without all my yapping and everything. It's just, fuck. He deserves all his fucking love. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.